The great news about where we are with the internet economy is that we're only at the beginning, in my view. I think it was almost 14 years ago. It was 13 years ago is when I was a partner at a big law firm in Silicon Valley, and in walked Larry Page and Sergey Brin, and they said they had some search engine that they had built, and they were running it out of their dormitory room, and they said, well, we think we might want to start a company, and will you help us? And so I helped them set up the company that obviously is Google, and that was a mere 13 years ago. And you see where Google has come, where the internet has come, in terms of its impact on economies, its impact on societies, its impact on culture. Search, to be sure, there are issues that we have to grapple with, but no one can argue that the internet has not been an enormous force for economic development and for democracy and for freedom, quite frankly. And the great thing is that has all happened, and you've seen this impact with much of the development happening, originally in the United States, spreading around, but still most of these, when you think of the name, I heard a number of names of companies mentioned. You have Yandex, you have very important Russian companies, you have important Chinese companies, and so forth. But most of the global companies have been American companies. That will not be the case forever, right? There's one thing that I'm certain of is that there will be many companies that are global companies that are serving folks all over the world that are the equivalents of are the Googles of whatever country you might want to name, and I'm sure they will come from places you don't expect, and I'm sure that they will because it's all about creativity of the entrepreneurs. But if you think of the interconnectedness we now have, the networks we now have, the translation, right? The ability to do machine translation and other things to break down some of the barriers that we've seen historically, all that will fall away, and I think that we will have an enormous flourishing of entrepreneurship and companies across borders.
Okay, so the next question, just to continue this topic, are you guys as a global corporation looking for new brains and pages, Sergey brains and pages? And if you look for them, are you looking for them in order to move them to your headquarters or to your local premises, or global economy for you means something else?
I think we have historically in terms of running our business we have development centers all around the world. So we've recognized that smart people are all over the world, and we want smart people to work at Google. So we have including here in Moscow, we have a development center in engineering, and we also, as we've grown, we've realized that we want to be a part of these burgeoning entrepreneurial ecosystems, right, and startup ecosystems around the world, because the more that they take off and the more you see successful startups, successful entrepreneurs doing what they're doing in their countries, not coming to Silicon Valley to do it.
That's
I think the faster you'll see this revolution that I talked about in answer to the first question,
my
right?
question was a bit provocative, because
so I think that we're doing things like, for instance, we have an entrepreneurial outreach program. So we're working with startups all over the world, and with incubation type programs, with startup weekends, boot camps, you name it, and we're all doing this because we think it's a good thing for the internet ecosystem. One of the things that I also work on is something called Google Ventures that we do only in the United States. It's a venture capital arm, and we're investing in hundreds of companies, and we'd like to expand that internationally. We haven't figured out a good way to do that yet, but that's something we'd like to do. And again, that's with the premise of you can have successful startups that can generate a lot of value anywhere in the world, given where we are.
The reason I ask this question is very simple. There is a common fear here in Russia that global corporations are just hunting for best brains, and the best people will be moving to some other countries, and Russia will be remaining without this human resources, first of all, which is most significant treasure of the countries of today.
Sure.
So, and you just explained that that's not the situation. That business is global, and every
business is global. I think people ought to have a certain amount of choice where they want to live, right? If they want to live somewhere else,
that's
great.
But
no, I think the fact of the matter is the networks are such the creativity is such, the connectivity is, the connectingness is such that you don't have to move to Silicon Valley to succeed. And I think that will be increasingly clear over time.
Okay.